Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Leon Live, and I am joined today with my very good friend, Kay Sargent, who I had the chance to serve on the Avixa Board of Directors with. Kay, welcome to Leon Live.
Thanks. Great to see you.
It's a bit nostalgic every time I see you and we come together because it's usually running up to an Infocom or an Avixa board meeting.
Right, absolutely. And many hours of sitting in those rooms together debating, what's coming up with our industry, what do we need to do? Yeah, fond memories.
And I remember I still have my class of 25 orange hat,
yes.
Which ironically is next year.
Yes, I should have worn it. That's so funny. Okay, next time we do this, we'll both wear our hats.
Next time we do, yes. Yeah. So, Kate, you always have some great insight. I've had a chance to hear you speak so many times. You caught my attention, of all the times you catch my attention, on your comments around the Cisco blog post about modernizing the modern workplace, and you are an expert in this area. Before we jump into that conversation, just really briefly, who is Kay Sargent? For those, I might have a lot of residential luxury partners on this, watching this today. They're being like, "Who's Kay?"
Yeah, who am I? So, and why am I listening to this woman speak? So, so I am the director of thought leadership at HOK, which is one of the largest architecture firms in the world. I am a practicing designer of almost 40 years now. I have designed every kind of imaginable space out there. Truly, from jails to courthouses to workplaces to, just you name it. I probably designed it. And we do a tremendous amount of thought leadership because we are at a time where people are really questioning everything, and they should be. And we want to help them understand not only what's happening now, but what potentially is coming and what the things they should be thinking about are.
Yeah, I think that is HOK. You can't not know the name. And like I said, there'll be a lot of luxury residential people on watching this today that'll just, as soon as you say design, they're focused in because they work with you. And certainly from a commercial standpoint, I think you have a lot of thought leadership in a wide range of areas. I would sort of call it, workplace strategy. Overall are the things I've heard you talk a lot about. Neurodiversity in workplace is one that I've really zeroed in on. But let's talk about modernizing offices. What are you seeing? What's got you fired up in this area that kind of led to your comments that you made in your post?
Yeah, I mean, we have always believed in having great workspaces, great environments, just period. Every place that we be, right? Like we should have great environments. And we really believe in the science of design. So it's not just about, what you potentially like or just randomly thinking about, oh, what's cool, what's happening right now. There is really a science behind us determining what is the right solution, what is the right fit, and what's appropriate for you. And so I think we pride ourselves in helping our clients truly understand that. And in the post-COVID era, there's a lot of discussion about, what's so great about the office and what makes me go there? That should have always been the question, by the way. We should have always been creating great, amazing experiences, but we have to really truly think about fit for purpose. Why are you coming to the office? And what do you do there? And how do we create environments that are well suited for that?
Yeah. And there's a wide range of needs when it comes to the workspace. Where are people getting this wrong? So when you talk about, HOK's got a legendary methodology and the science. But people, hybrid work still is kind of like a weird word for a lot of people. So where are people getting this wrong even today? We're well past the pandemic.
How many hours do we have, Jeff?
Yeah.
I think we're going to look back at this as going to be an epic failure of communication and leadership. And I think we're not really talking about the right things. We're talking about, oh, are you more productive? It's not about how many hours you spend on your computer.
Right.
We really need to be thinking about what do companies actually value you doing, and where can you best do that, and why are you coming together? And it's different for different generations. The younger generation who is trying to learn and understand things and has great things that they can bring to the older generation that's trying to understand the technology, right? It's about that cross mentoring. It's about gathering and connecting and building that social capital back. And
Yeah.
those are things that sometimes are harder to do when you're not necessarily together. Even innovating or creating can be a real challenge when you're not together. But there are other things that you can do very well working from home, and you shouldn't
Yeah.
have to drive all the way into an office to do them if you're going to sit there and try to avoid being near other people all day because you're on phone calls all day. So I think we really need to think that this is not a binary choice. It's not an either or. There's a new system here. And it's not just about where we work, it's about when we work and how we work. And I think there was a societal shift that is also happening here because the older generation thinks about, well, what it was like when they entered the workforce.
Right.
That's not the reality that the younger generation is looking at. It is a radically different trajectory that they have. And we need to really fully embrace that and understand that, put ourselves in their shoes and to understand what is that hesitation and why.
Yeah, there's a lot of there's a number of strategies to employ, as you're thinking about, the diverse constituents that are going to access the space. You talk a lot about neurodiversity as one of those key considerations.
Yeah.
Are you seeing, where are you seeing that people really get this?
Well,
And when they do, what does it look like? Yeah, go ahead.
let me just reframe it a little bit so that
Yeah.
maybe more people get it. Sensory processing, cognitive well-being, and neuroinclusion. So every single person processes information and thinks differently. Okay, so we are all neurodiverse. But people that are neurodivergent tend to either, kind of really have some challenges with the way that they're processing things or think differently. They kind of think outside that preset norm. Okay. But it doesn't mean that it's not impacting every single person. Sound, temperature, lighting, visual stimulation is impacting everyone in the built environment. And so when we design for the extreme, we benefit the mean. But what might be
Hmm.
irritating to someone that's neurotypical can be debilitating to someone that's neurodivergent. And so we really are on this mission to have a better understanding of how is the built environment actually really impacting individuals, and what is that impact on all of us, and how do we create environments so that you can be in spaces that are more stimulating and inviting to you, or be in spaces that are calmer and more neutralized and more controlled,
Hmm.
right? It's about having those options and choices and understanding that we're not all the same and we need different things.
How do you design to the mean? I like
So
that quote.
yeah. So, well, I actually think that's part of the problem is
Mm.
that far too long we've tried to design the average thing for the average person doing the average task, and that doesn't exist anymore. But what we mean by that quote is when we design for all those extremes, all of those different situations that we're in, every single person, including those in the middle, will benefit, right? So we're really designing for the extreme so that
Mm.
we can benefit every single person. And
Mm.
I think um, that's one of the things that we really try to focus on is understanding that built environment and the influence that it's really having on us.
Yeah, so extreme design in the commercial environment. I should say, like you said, from prisons to boardrooms.
Yeah.
Um, there's going to be a wide range in between. Talk about some design is so aesthetically focused that
Yeah.
it lacks a view of technology. You're passionate about the intersection of tech and aesthetic and data. What advice would you have for either a designer or maybe an AV company, trying to navigate this?
I love your asking me these questions that we could talk about for hours on
I
end, but
know, I know. It's
down, if I had to boil it down, I would say this. We believe that we've actually really good at predicting technology. We look at science fiction. What we're not so good at is understanding us and or societal issues and changes. If you think about Star Trek or the Jetsons, they got all the technology right. It was the social elements that they totally missed. And we don't believe that future environments are going to be very cold and sterile like you see in a lot of sci-fi movies. The more high tech we go, the more high touch we go, meaning that we're human, we're organic, we want balance. And so we really see this integration of technology seamlessly kind of being entwined into spaces. But people like things that are organic. They like natural things. They like to celebrate who we are as humans. And I think when we go too far one way, we kind of want that balance the other way. So we're seeing this big influx of biophilia and kind of hospitality and all those things into spaces to make them more human. But we have to do a better job of integrating technology into the work environment because we haven't done a great job of that. You think about the experience you have in your car and how amazing that experience can be, and it's so high tech. And then you get to the office and you're crawling around on the floor trying to find an outlet. So we can do better, and we can leverage technology to help us and to make spaces more intuitive and to take out some of the pain points that we go through every single day as we're navigating through life.
I'm just thinking about that crawl under the table, just trying to solve very basic problems. And, there are classic quotes, great design is complexity solved. And it's, we're forever approaching it, yet the tech is getting even more complex. And we are very focused on boardrooms and high impact spaces. And in those spaces, we're finding that they're turning into multi-camera studios, and in part the tech, but also in part that room has to do more than just be a video room, right? It has to become, where a board meeting, where a CEO maybe does a live stream for shareholders, right? For example. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we basically said the other day, if you are designing conference rooms the way that you did 5 years ago, they're probably wrong. Because shoving the largest rectangular table with the maximum number of chairs into a room that you can with a small little screen at the end of the wall doesn't cut it anymore. And I think we have to plan for the hybrid world that we are living in right now, in the enhanced experiences that we are seeking now. And technology can be an enabler, but it starts with understanding what are you actually doing, right? So if you're innovating or collaborating, do you really need a big, huge table that's blocking you in the room? Like that, get rid of that. Okay. So understanding what is actually happening in that room and what you're striving for. If it's a presentation versus consensus versus innovation versus co-creating, all very, very different scenarios. And then it's understanding the duration, the formality, the work postures that are happening, and then making sure not only do we have the right setting, but the right technology. And technology today can drive the entire design of the room. I mean, if I have an interactive screen and it's ADA compliant, you have to have space that somebody can come up and actually touch that, right? It's not, can't you just butt a table right up against that? Or we need to have room for people to move and, kind of fidget to get that energy they have. If we go back to that neurodiversity topic about all these people that maybe are challenged sitting still for extended period of times in those meetings. Or we need spaces for people that, may not feel as comfortable being like squeezed in at a table. Or we might have a screen on the side wall, not at the end wall, so that everybody is equal distance to the camera and to the microphone, and you don't have this long table where the most important person at the end is the reason that nobody can hear or even see, but they could be the key person, right? So we have to think about the intent, the purpose, the shape, the configuration, the settings, the technology. It's complicated today.
Yeah. And it's, listen, it's a journey. It's going to be a process. It's going to be a do one and learn and do one and learn. And maybe a big, big step in this is acknowledging that each design requires sort of that analysis, of what's working, what's not working.
Oh, I love you for saying that, right? So we believe there is a process, okay?
Yeah.
And it starts by asking the series of questions. about, the intent, the duration, the formality, all of those different things, understanding what's happening, then getting the right setting, and then understanding, is it low participation, high participation, hybrid or not? What kind of technology do you need? And there's a whole series of questions that we really need to understand, because I think the challenge right now is some rooms are over-designed with too much technology and nobody knows how to use it. So it becomes a $50,000 piece of artwork on the wall because people's digital fitness doesn't really align with what they need.
Hey, what's wrong with $50,000 pieces of art on the wall?
Well, if it's supposed to be a piece of technology that's framing the conversation, but nobody knows how to use it, then
There you go.
buy a real piece of artwork, right?
Yeah.
But and other ones maybe don't need as much technology or any technology, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's about understanding what is actually needed and tailoring the solutions and giving people not just the average solution that might misfit a whole lot of people's needs, but giving them kind of tiered approaches to low tech to high tech spaces, low interaction to high interaction.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. I think there's so many nuggets today. Listen, extreme to the mean, high tech, high touch. You have not disappointed. It's been a classic K Sargent session today. So will we see you at InfoComm?
Yes, actually you will. You won't see me the first few days. You will see me the last day, and I think I'm speaking 3 or 4 times that last day. So Stick around to the end because it gets better.
It gets better. It gets better. Thank you, Kay. It's been awesome today. I appreciate it. If you would just hang for a second, I'm going to end our Leon Live and just say goodbye. Thank you again.
Yes, I knew that you saw me. You laugh when I look back.